All right, so we're going to go over 2, 5 scatter plots and lines of regression. So let's open it up. All right, so 2, 5 scatter plots and lines of regression. Another entire I can graph scatter plots and lines of regression. So basically scatter plots, at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of points on a graph. It's a bunch of data points. It's just a bunch of data. A positive correlation, you're going to have points that look like this, like they're making an upward trend, right? Like you're running uphill. Negative, you get a negative trend, like you're going downhill. No correlation, right? It's going to look something like that. And you might have more points in this, you might have less. This is kind of just their general what they look like. The line of fit is the line that best describes the data. So we're going to go over how to find the line of fit. This is also like your line of regression. There's a couple different names for it. Line of best fit, things like that. Then we get into the technology part of this. So we're going to use the graphing calculators to graph these data points, graph the line of best fit, and then use the line of best fit for predictions. So here are all the steps. Any of these little sideways carrots, those are tabbing to the right. I think that is the biggest part of it. Anything that's inside brackets are buttons that are on the calculator that you will need to hit. Perfect. All right, so let's go into the first example. We're going to look at Hortonville and the selling price of new single-family homes over the year of a survey. So we have 0 through 5 years of the survey with their prices in the 1,000. So this is 154,400, but we're just going to use 154.4. Anyways, though, first thing you need to do when you get your calculators, you need to hit second plus 712. All right, this clears the RAM, clears any sort of data that was there before. That was so to clear all data. Second plus 712. All right, that is to clear all your data. Once you have done that, you're ready to rock and roll. So what you do, this goes hand in hand with the instructions and the steps for graphing calculators, but you are going to hit stat. Enter. That brings you to this page. L1 just means your X values. So for us, years. L2 is our Y value. So we're going to take 0, enter it in. 1, enter it in. You should be entering it where it's going vertically up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is our last X value. Then we're going to tab over to the right, and we're going to enter the values now on the right side. 154.4. 166.4, 181.9, 207.0, 228.7, 273. All right, perfect. All of our data is in. Make sure that you started with 0 and not 1. Notice that was a couple of mistakes we've had. So the next part, now all the data is in. It says 1B is to hit our window. The window is what you see on the calculator screen. So our X-min and our X-max. Our smallest min for the data is 0. Our largest is 5. We want to give wiggle room. Okay, it's for later in the problem. So negative 10, 10 is fine. X scale. This is how much you want to go up by. You can go up by 1s, 2s, 5s, 10s, 20s, whatever you really want. Just make sure that, right, the smaller the range here, the smaller this should be. So I'm going to put this at 2. Y min, our smallest y is 154.4. So we don't have to have our y min at negative 10. Let's give it a little bit of a buffer and put it at 100. These are just numbers that I'm just choosing right now to best see my screen. The y max is our largest, 273. So let's give it a little bit of buffer, 300. We don't want to go by 1s, so let's go by 10s. 1s would make us 200 little ticks on the screen right here. We don't want that, so let's have a little bit less. All right, Once you have done that, part C says hit second, hit y equals, and now you get to a point that says stat plots. You're going to hit enter, and then enter again. What you have just done is you have turned on this stat plot. Now there's types here. This should be covered, the dots, not the line, not the bar graph. We'll get into that later in the semester, but you want the dots here. All right. From there, it says hit graph, and now you have your nice graph. You should have something that looks like this. Perfect. And then our next part says find the equation of the line of fit. So we want to find that line of fit. Now this is usually part B in your homeworks as well. And what that says is hit stat, tab over once to the right, hit 4. Now some of your calculators will just give you this top part, and then you just hit enter once. That's what your notes have, just hit enter once, and then it will tell you the line of fit. Some of these will look like this. You have to scroll down, then find calculate, and hit enter. Look at that. Perfect. So this is y equals ax plus b. That's our slope intercept form. Instead of using m, they use a. So you have 23, and b equals 144.4. So our line of fit, so if we're answering questions on here, line of fit is y equals 23x plus 144.4. And our correlation is positive. If you remember from looking at the graph, it was a positive looking data set. All right, this is also going to be our prediction equation. So just to let you know, all these parts are still going to be our prediction equation. Perfect. All right, but now, right now, our graph, we do not have a line. We need to find a line. We need to make that line appear on the screen. That's where we go to part 3 of the steps. It says graph the line. We hit y equals. Okay, this is the part where we get to the graphing part. We hit vars, V-A-R-S. It's right here, right next to clear. Hit vars. Hit 5. Tab over twice. It says reg EQ. Hit enter. What it has done now, it has imported the line of fit into the y equals part. So then you can graph it. You hit graph. And now you have the line of best fit graphed. Perfect. Once this is done, now we need to predict. We need to do our part C. Predict the selling price of a new home for year 8. This is the part that I think is cool with these predictions. What you have to do is you hit second, trace, 1. It gives you this X with a little blinky. This blinky is saying, put something in here. So you're like, okay, sounds good. I'm looking for the 8th year. I hit 8. I hit enter. And right here, it tells you what the Y will be, what the price will be in year 8 of our survey. This is our prediction. This could actually happen in real life. You don't know that, but if you're here to make predictions and you're paid to make predictions, that is a way that you come to that prediction. So, year 8, and the price is 328.4. And what is this? This really means $328,400. Right, because we're doing our prices in thousands. Cool. And it says, how accurate does your prediction appear to be? Yes, right, we have a general trend increasing over the years, so yes, very, seems accurate, works out well. But that is how you do 2-5. A lot of it goes with graphing calculator. If I made my window not large enough, so say my Y max was like 5 and not 10, and I tried to find something that was in year 8, it would give me an error because of that. A lot of the errors have to do with your window and that your X-min, X-max, Y-min, Y-max are not able to, basically they're not large enough, that the range isn't large enough, or you have your Y-max being 1,000 and your Y-min being 1,000, that's going to create issues, things like that. But that's 2-5. All right.